So let's look at playing 11. So Raja, why don't you start with the top order for India? Whom do you think will be top order for India?
I like Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma at the top. I know Mayank Agarwal is there, and if needed, Vihari can also open. But I like the idea of Rohit and Shubman at the top.
So Manoj, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Raja. I think Rohit Sharma can be destructive at the top. So Rohit Sharma, of course, with Shubman Gill. Shubman Gill has sound technique and he can tackle the New Zealand quicks. I think these two should open the innings for India, followed by Pujara. The Rock of
Pujara,
Gibraltar.
Kohli and Rahane are like obvious choice in between. So like your top two are the ones that are in question, and I think I agree with you. Gill will come along with the Rohit to open because like he was the one who is playing in the Indian team for the past 4 or 5 test matches, right? He hasn't done great against England in the home test series, but I don't think he has done anything to drop him. So I think they will continue that combination. So top 5 slots are fixed now. Rohit, Gill, Virat and Rahane and Pujara, right? So who will come next? Do you think Vihari will get a chance in this match, or what do you think?
I don't think so. I really don't think Vihari will get a chance, though he's already in England, played a couple of county matches for Warwickshire, if I'm not wrong. But I think Rishabh Pant will be the next in for India.
Yeah, Rishabh Pant will anyway play. The only question will be whether if India want to play 2 spinners, they have to drop Vihari. There is no other option, I think. If India want to play Ashwin and Jadeja both, they have to drop Vihari and then bring these 2 guys. So, Raja, your thoughts? Do you think India will play both the spinners?
It's also about what roles they can fill. So Vihari can definitely bat, and he's been doing well for Warwickshire also. So, but what say someone like Jadeja offers at that spot, or Ashwin is pretty much difficult to drop after a Man of the Series performance against England. So Jadeja has been playing his best cricket, you could say, in his entire career and across formats. So it would be difficult for Vihari to fit in, definitely.
I agree with you, Raja. I don't think he had a great county because he played only 3 matches. Vihari played only 3 matches, and unfortunately, I think he got only 150 out of the 6 innings that he has played. Yeah. So he may get a chance, or he will definitely get a chance going into England series. But for finals, I think it's difficult for them to fit in Vihari unless they want him to open along with the Rohit, and like what they have done in Australia last year, and that was not successful though. But that could be one option if they want to fit in Vihari, but I don't think they'll be so much desperate to fit in Vihari. So do you guys think now both Ashwin and Jadeja will play?
Yeah.
Yes,
I do think that. Yeah.
Adam, do you think India will go with 2 spinners?
I genuinely think it's too early to tell. I think most teams would know that they're sort of 12 players on the eve of the game, and potentially be tossing up that option between whether it's an extra batter or an extra seamer and an extra spinner. So look, I think it's too early really to tell. I think New Zealand have probably got the easier choice because I think they don't have that abundance of spin options. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Gary Stead, the New Zealand coach, to knock on any of those seamers' doors and tell them they're going to miss out on that World Test Championship final. So look, I think that's probably a clearer selection choice than the Indians have got with the spin options and the spin riches that they've got in that squad.
Yeah, I think if you ask me, if spinners doesn't have anything on the pitch, India will play 1 spinner. If spinners have something on that pitch, India will go with 2 spinners. That's because absolutely. Playing 1 spinner for India has been traditionally, a strength, and because both these guys, be it Jadeja or Ashwin, can bat a bit, and that's an added advantage. So if they think spinners has something on the pitch, definitely they'll go with 2 spinners, because many people who sent those questions on Twitter also wanted to know what combination they'll go with. But I agree with you, Adam, like it may be too early to say, but like I said, India will tend to go with 2 spinners. If not with 1 spinner. So now comes to fast bowling battery of India, Manoj. Whom do you think will be the fast bowlers for India? Let's say like they'll go with two spinners for now. And whom do you think will be three fast bowlers if they are going with two spinners?
I think hands down, Bumrah, Shami, and Ishant. Those would be the
Okay.
three they will try to pick for the match.
Yeah, I think that sounds fair because Ishant, I think away from home, England is one of his better playing grounds, like better playing country. England suits him, and Shami, we know what he can do, and like Ishant, Shami, and Bumrah. I think Bumrah haven't played much test matches against England, or sorry, in England or against New Zealand, but I think a bowler of Bumrah's caliber may not lose his place, but there is all, I mean, there are things going around that Siraj may play in, and where do Siraj play, if at all? I mean, Siraj plays. Do you think it is possible for Siraj to play in the WTC finals?
I mean, yes. If in case they decide to play him, if it's not spin friendly, maybe drop Ravindra Jadeja and bring in Shami. That would make a case for him. Otherwise, I don't think there's a place for Siraj in this team.
Raja, your thoughts on fast bowling for India?
I agree. I think what Manoj has put forward, the three choices are the number 1, 2, 3. So that would be my bowling attack, pace bowling battery. Just in case, as you said, maybe if Jadeja or Ashwin are not playing, maybe that's when Siraj gets an opportunity.
So, Michael, your thoughts on India's fast bowling options?
I think it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? I mean, Bumrah and Ishant Sharma have both played there and averaged under 25. Mohammad Shami is probably the next best guy who complements that pace bowling lineup. I think you would have to have a look at the conditions. If it's overcast overhead and the wicket is going to offer a bit of assistance to the fast bowlers on the first 2 days, India might go with a four-man pace attack and hope that they've got enough batting. But I think for the overall balance of the team, Ashwin and Jadeja at 7 and 8 give them enough batting and enough spin options to counter the fact that, you know, if you play Bumrah, Sharma and Mohammad Shami, you're not picking them because they're great batters. So I think that'll be the way that India go. I think they'll go with the two spinners because they've been so strong in that department. And because potentially that will give them the best opportunity to score runs as well. Because with, you know, if you had Bumrah, Sharma, Shami and Siraj 8, 9, 10, 11, that's a pretty long tail to take into a test match against New Zealand.
Definitely. I think we have summarized India's playing 11, and I think we have hoped, I think we have answered some of the Twitter questions as well. So, Stu, why don't you start with New Zealand's playing 11?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I guess there's a lot more questions in the Indian one. I think the New Zealand one, there's only really one now. I mean, I guess before we played this England series, there was some talk about, you know, who would open for New Zealand. I think Devon Conway's answered that pretty emphatically in that first test knock for him, getting a double 100. I mean, yeah, you can't do much better than that. So I think he's firmly established himself there, and we'll see him open with Tom Latham. You've got Williamson, Taylor, Nichols filling out the middle order, I expect, and then BJ Watling in at 6. And then the real question is who bats at 7 and who plays that all-rounder role. I mean, given the way they've selected in this first test against England, suggests that it'll be a straight shootout really between Mitchell Santner and Colin de Grandhomme, and that may reflect the pitch conditions, whether they think spin will play a part. I know Gary Stead has mentioned many times that he likes to play a spinner just for the balance of the attack, even if probably in New Zealand conditions spin doesn't play a part. You have seen him still play Ajaz Patel at times at home, and Mitchell Santner featured and actually picked up a crucial wicket to win us a Pakistan test earlier in the summer. So yeah, I guess if I had to tip someone, I think they probably will lean Santner at this point. And then you're just looking at those 4 quicks, Jameson, Southey, Wagner, Bolt to fill out the side. I suppose if there was any question in the batting lineup for me, it might be Ross Taylor. I mean, he's had a really lean run in the last sort of 18 months. He's scored, I think, 150 in his past 14 innings. But I just can't see the way that New Zealand, I guess, holds Taylor in such high regard. What a tremendous performer he's been for us over the years, and the way that Williamson and Stead, their selection policy has been very loyal and has supported. I know on our podcast we spoke with Matt Henry a few weeks ago, just before they left, and he spoke about how the players were really, they've built towards this, and how exciting it was that they've had this World Test Championship final as a carrot for particularly this New Zealand home summer just now, but over the past couple of years. And for someone like Taylor, who's been there throughout all of that, to miss out, I think he would probably feel very unlucky. But I think if you're picking purely on form, if Taylor doesn't get a run in these two English tests, then he's probably the one that's under the most pressure in that batting lineup.
So, Michael, your thoughts on playing 11 for New Zealand?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to that question of whether or not New Zealand play a spinner. If they play a spinner, I think they're going to have to play Mitchell Santner, given that they can't not play their 4 fast bowlers. So it will have to be a spinning all-rounder who could bat at 7. Mitchell Santner just about fills that role for New Zealand. I think I would prefer, if I wanted to play a spinner, I think my preference would be to play Ajaz, but I just can't see how that they would fit Ajaz and the 4 fast bowlers into that lineup, because it means, you would have Jamieson batting at 7, and then Wagner or Southey batting at 8, and then you've got the other guys sort of 9, 10, 11. So I don't think that's going to work for New Zealand from a batting point of view. I think it leaves their tail too exposed, too long. So I think if New Zealand do play a spinner, they'll go with Mitchell Santner. Otherwise, I think it'll be Colin de Gronholm to provide a bit of batting at 7 and a little bit of nibbly 70-mile-an-hour seamers.
Yeah, if at all, if they think 2 spinners has to be played, I think Kane Williamson is going to roll his arm, isn't it? I think he has been practicing that.
He's a pretty reluctant bowler, though, Shrinath. He doesn't like to bowl very often, and he will bowl if he has to, but I think he would much rather prefer that his fast bowlers do the job up the top and knock the Indians over early.
So, Adam, your thoughts on playing 11?
Hi, look, no different really to Stu and Baldy. I think the one thing I'd just add into the mix is I think Carl Jamieson will finish his career as a pretty decent number 7 for New Zealand. I think he could be an all-rounder in the mould of an Andrew Flintoff, I think. So look, I genuinely think probably at the moment he's a good 7.5. And look, I guess a little bit like that Indian lineup with a combination of Santner and Jamieson. I think they've got that sort of middle order batting covered so that they can get what is their real strength in that seam attack. And look, I think Carl Jamieson's going to be a real handful for the Indian batting lineup as well.
So as we see now, I think only one of the Colin de Granmore or Santner can play, right? Both of them cannot play if they have to make 4 fast bowlers. Am I right, Stu?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to really do that, they'd have those fast bowlers, and I just can't see how you can do that. I mean, they have done that in the past, but that was really before Jamieson kind of came onto the scene, and now that he's there, I just can't see how you can take that black cap off him. He's just done so well. He's made every poster winner and just been tremendous. So yeah, I can't see how they do it, and really why they would do it, because I mean they've done it in this test and this first test against England, and I don't think it's really worked, to be honest. They've gone with it's easy to say now that both Santner and